Welcome to lesson number 96. Salvation comes from my one self, capital S. Sitting comfortably, just close your eyes, relax, lean against the wall. I'm going to read this first paragraph. Although you are one self, capital S, you experience yourself as two, as both good and evil, loving and hating, mind and body. This sense of being split into opposites includes feelings of acute and constant conflict and leads to frantic attempts to reconcile the contradictory aspects of this self-perception. You have sought many such solutions, and none of them has worked. The opposites you see in you will never be compatible, but one exists. Now, this paragraph points to the dualistic aspect of life and the world we seem to live in. There's an opposite. Everything has an opposite. And that just makes it confusing. And so we believe that we're supposed to like some people and not like others. That we're supposed to have preferences for certain kinds of food and certain temperatures and certain kinds of weather. And all these start to form the self-construct, the ego false self. And so what is our yoga but to use the false self to find true self? It's all right there. We just have to look at our preferences. We have to look at our likes and dislikes and see how insane they are, and how this paragraph so accurately points out this futile attempt to find sanity where it cannot be found hasn't worked. It is impossible. Probably seen the movie with Alice in Wonderland. It's such an accurate tale. The young girl falls asleep, she goes down the rabbit hole, and all hell breaks loose. It's a crazy, nutty world, and she cannot make up from down. She doesn't know where she's going. But finally, the signs and symbols point to her awakening, and she wakes up and realizes she's home where she never left. And that's our yoga. That's our practice. So bring the soles of the feet together and have them out a ways from your hips. And close your eyes. Slowly curve forward. You may walk your hands out. One thing I want you to be conscious of is bringing your hands together in these forward curving shapes. So I'd rather you keep them apart, even if it means having them outside your knees. Some people, they need to be outside the knees. This narrowing in the front of the body is a real pattern in the shoulders that gets to be more acute as we get older. Keep the hands whitish and just feel the curve. Let your head relax. Let your mind relax. Look on this dualistic world and the dualistic thoughts of opposites and likes and dislikes. Look on them with forgiveness and the humility that would say, thank God I have been wrong about all this. I want a better way. If you feel the need to raise up, go ahead and come on up. I'm going to read a little bit more. It says in paragraph 2, the fact that truth and illusion cannot be reconciled, no matter how you try, what means you use and where you see the problem, must be accepted if you would be saved. We cannot reconcile truth with illusion. We can only choose one or the other. And the choice for one denies the other. Come on up if you haven't raised up. Sit in the shape a moment. The choice for the ego thought system denies heaven. The choice for heaven, or the choice for true self, denies the entire ego world. This is how Jesus was able to say, rejoice, be glad, I have overcome the world. Or he said, I seem to be in the world, but I am not of it. Now we're going to change up the shape. Just extend your legs straight out in front of you a moment, and be sure you're sitting at least in the middle of the bolster, maybe toward the front edge. Activate your legs. You can continue leaning against the wall, that's fine, but activate your legs, squeeze them together, press the thighs a little bit. It's okay for the heels to come apart some, because the thighs are spiraling in. Yeah, and you can have your eyes closed. You might even want to glance at your legs and glance at your toes and see if you can get all 10 toes. Had to stop and count them there for a second. All 10 toes to engage. See if you can get them to cooperate. It's not uncommon for some to, some little piggies to not want to go to the market, right? And so just play with getting them all to be included. It's good. And now once again, slowly curve forward. Slide your hands down your legs. Keep your legs active. Don't try to advance the curve, but instead, just keep the legs active and let your whole spine, let your curve, let everything adjust and adapt to your working legs. They may shake and quiver a little bit here. It'll only be painful and annoying if you try to touch your toes, or if you try to advance the shape, which is always dangerous. Speaking of a dualistic world, here's a little rule of thumb. There's a cost to everything here. It's part of the setup. There is a cost to everything except perfect forgiveness. Raise up slowly. Keep your legs active. Press into the heels. Slowly raise up. Rest against the wall. Rest your legs. It's one of the problems with leadership and politics and things like that. There's a cost to everything. So while it's helpful to one group, it's always going to be unhelpful to another, until we're able to really tune into forgiveness, where we start to realize there is no cost, there is no sacrifice. Now, bring your feet in close. You're going to bend your knees. Yep, bend them up, feet flat on the floor. And test a little bit. See if you can bring your feet in close. Some of you may have your heels all the way to the bolster. If your heels come to the bolster, then slide forward on the bolster a little bit and diminish the distance between your heels and your rump. And then come forward like Lisa did. You can wrap your arms around your thighs, let your head come down. It's a supported squatting shape. Now your shape may not look like Lisa's. Remember, she can sit on her heels. She can sit into the space between her heels. So she has lots of knee flexion, lots of mobility in her feet. But she's been in this practice too for about 4 or 5 years. Work with what shows up. Let your tail drop. Let your spine lengthen. Let your whole backside broaden. As the front compresses, it's okay for some of you to let some weight come down into your feet and spread the feet into the floor. You may feel that. In paragraph 3, the Course mentions there's just more details about the conflict between the two selves and these two ideas, the split nature of the mind. And then in paragraph 4, it says, Spirit makes use of mind as a means to find its capital S self-expression. That's a beautiful line. Spirit makes use of mind as means to find true creativity. It's just a play on words. You want creativity in your life? You want to be guided? You want to be inspired? Tune into true self, and creativity will pour through you joyfully and peacefully, lovingly. In fact, sentence 2, it says, do this, and the mind which serves the Spirit is at peace and filled with joy. Its power comes from Spirit, and it is fulfilling happily its function here. That's what we want. Raise up slowly. Beautiful. Yeah. All right, and now we're going to make a shift. Come onto your back. Have your head on the bolster. Knees bent, feet on the floor. Doing okay, Lisa? Mm-hmm. Knees bent, feet on the floor. And we'll just have some time here. Close your eyes, let your spine adapt. After that flexion, it's not uncommon to have some sensation in your back, and just let it release and acclimate to the floor. The mind's power. Remember, my miracles are seen in light, and light and strength are one. Remember that lesson? Its power, its strength comes from Spirit, and it is fulfilling happily its function here. Yet mind can also see itself divorced from Spirit and perceive itself within a body. It confuses with itself. We think we're a body. We misidentify. Thank God we're not these bodies. We just have to want a better way. And then the body becomes a vehicle for life, a vehicle for love and light. Without its function, and what is our function? Happiness, forgiveness. Then it has no peace. And happiness is alien to its thoughts. So that's the dark side. We want the light side. All right, now, I hope you have your strap handy. We're going to move the bolster now underneath your feet. Put the bolster crosswise underneath your feet. And bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees be wide. You're going to take the strap, fold it in half a couple times. It'd be nice if everybody had a strap caddy next to them. And So you just take some time, fold your strap up so you don't have dangling edges, hold it about shoulder width, firm your grip. You're going to use a tearing action on the strap to help extend the elbows. Slowly, slowly, slowly lower your arms overhead toward the floor. Tearing on the strap, extending the elbows. For the benefit of the elbows and hands and fingers, you squeeze the strap evenly, all as a way to access shoulder rigidity. Now we're adding complexity here. We got work going on in the hips too, and if that gets too strong, then you hold the knees up a little bit. Manage the whole thing. Your mind is powerful. It's everywhere. It's safe and effective as long as you don't push or strain or try to advance the shape. Beautiful. In paragraph 5, it talks just more about how the ego mind, apart from spirit, cannot think. Remember the lesson way back at the beginning. The ego, when it thinks about anything other than thoughts of forgiveness, thoughts of thinking with God, it's basically blank. See, in this ego state, dissociated from its function now, it thinks it is alone and separate, attacked by armies and others, massed against itself and hiding in the body's frail support. And if that were the case, that's terrifying. These bodies are fragile. Now must it reconcile, unlike with like, for this is what it thinks that is for. And then it says in paragraph 6, waste no more time on this. Who can resolve the senseless conflicts with a dream which a dream presents? All right, let's make a commitment. Let's not waste any more time with the ego thought. Raise your arms slowly. Keep the grip firm. Feel every knuckle, every joint in each finger. Keep the tearing action. Let the head of the humerus, deep in the shoulder, sink into the floor as you raise up. Beautiful. Now lift the knees a little bit. Press the feet into the floor. That's it. Lower the strap to the side, knees together, feet on the bolster. Head resting on the floor. Bring the right knee toward the center chest. Interlock your fingers behind the thigh. Just settle into the shape. Who can resolve the senseless conflicts which a dream presents? Think about Alice in Wonderland. We are no different, running around trying to make sense of nothing. What could the resolution mean in truth? What purpose could it serve? What is it for? There's the golden question. Salvation cannot make illusions real, nor solve a problem that does not exist. Perhaps you hope it can. Yet would you have God's plan for the release of his dear Son bring pain to him and fail to set him free? No. Salvation is a thought you share with God because his voice accepted it for you and answered it in your name, that it was done. We have to see through it all. And it's Spirit that will help us do that. Lower your foot to the bolster. And in the same fashion, bring the left knee to the center chest. Salvation is a thought you share with God because His voice accepted it for you and answered in your name that it was done. The solution is already there. We really only have to accept it. This is salvation kept among the thoughts yourself, true self, holds dear and cherishes for you. Now, lower your foot to the bolster and then see if you can pull the bolster in with your feet a little bit and stretch your legs out over the bolster. You have to scoot back a little bit so your feet don't touch the wall. Just stretch out, bolster under the lower thigh, heels on the floor, palms out to the side, hands out to the side, palms up. Just rest here. Just rest. Maybe lift the hips one time. Let the low back come toward the floor a little more fully. That's it. Lift the chin, open the throat. Just rest and openness. I amness. Let the light in. It says in paragraph 8, we will attempt today to find this thought, whose presence in your mind is guaranteed by Him who speaks to you from your one true self. That's the voice we want to hear. Salvation comes from this one self, through Him who in the bridge between your mind and it. Wait patiently. Let Him speak to you about yourself. We remember the thought of the day. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. And when we do that, that's the miracle. One miraculous thing after another will occur when we follow this guidance. Time and space will be rearranged for you. Nothing to fear, nothing to lose, nothing in form to gain, only what is given. Only what's needed will come. Salvation comes from my one self. Its thoughts are mine to use. It says, then seek its thoughts and claim them as your own. They are your own real thoughts you have denied. And let your mind go wandering in a world of dreams to find illusions in their place. Here are your thoughts, the only ones you have. Salvation is among them. Find it there. And here's the affirmation. If you succeed, the thoughts that come to you will tell you you are saved and that your mind has found the function that it sought to lose. Yourself will welcome it and give it peace. Restored in strength, it will again flow out from Spirit to the Spirit in all things created by the Spirit as itself. Confusion done. You are restored, for you have found yourself. Bend your knees, push the bolster away. And roll onto one side when you're ready. And push yourself up to a comfortable seat. Sitting easy, sitting comfortably. Give your body over to gravity. Surrender. And then let your spirit just be light, open to the soft, quiet voice. If there's anything we want to strengthen, it's that connection, but we can't grasp for it. We can't reach for it. We just gently open the door to it. Salvation comes from my one true self as an expression, an outer expression of that inner truth, our shared inner source. Hands to the heart. Namaste.